Oh, life can be a beautiful thing. You know you cool because you sitting up there in a white shirt in February and you look like it's not cold out. So I'm asking
Well,
the original Coach Carter, what's the temperature there in Tennessee?
and right now it's 61 degrees
Oh my
with a
goodness, you
lot of
guys
rain.
having a heat wave. Oh,
Absolutely.
oh,
But here's the strangest thing. We're going to hit 70 tomorrow during the
really?
day, but tomorrow night will be 24 degrees.
All right.
We're going to have a major swing.
Okay, well, I'm Charles Morris. This is the original Coach Carter. This is Youth Central Sports, where we come to you every Wednesday at 11 p.m. He's in no, you're in Nashville, right? You're in Nashville, right?
Nashville.
Okay, he's in
Nashville.
Nashville, Tennessee. I want to say Knoxville. He's in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm here in the in Mickey country, what we call Orlando, Florida. It used to be the town of Shamu, but they kind of like got rid of Shamu, but that's another story, another show. But anyway, this is Youth Central Sports, where we come to you every Wednesday night, and you usually give us a little update. But when everybody was going through that Arctic cold stuff, especially like in Chicago and Minnesota, it was how cold there in Tennessee.
Well, we had some real frigid temperatures. We were down in the 30s and 20s. We only had one snow day, snowfall but we felt a lot of the temperatures, but we did not get the snow. And this 3 or 4 days of 60 weather has been refreshing, but we know we're not through with winter yet. Again, like tomorrow, I think it's forecast for 74 high and 24. And then the next couple of days after that are going to be somewhat seasonal. 50s are in the day, 30s in the evening. We're going to see that for the next 3 or 4 days. And from what I've been told, and I've experienced, it could snow in March as well, depending upon what the weather does.
Okay, because it was actually in the 80s here today. It was in the 80s, so it was pretty.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty warm here today. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
We call this one.
yeah, because it was like crazy cold last week, man. It was like crazy cold, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
ooh.
What you guys were calling cold is what we call warm.
Well, I meant not
And
here. I meant not here because I mean
well,
we
yeah,
had that
because
discussion. If it drops below 60, people here lose their mind. But
yeah,
we're
well, I talked with several people who were looking at minus zero and was not expected to see zero
right,
for 3 or 4 days. I know my brothers in Milwaukee, they're in 30s and they think it's warm.
right,
They've been down below zero so long, and
yeah,
and
yeah. Well,
they got some cold. They still got some cold weather coming.
yeah. Well, I told you that story when I was up north. When it got to 30 degrees, I was outside in a little light jacket. I was like, "Woo, boy, this is the best thing I felt in a long time. That's a wonderful thing."
That's what I'm seeing here.
Seriously,
But
it was
I'm not
actually.
I'm not doing that, but
I
I
think
see
it
others
was
doing it.
30, it was either 31 or 32 degrees, and I ran outside and I was like, man, this is a wonderful thing right here.
But I can tell you, having been here as long as I have, I can appreciate, and I find myself not as chilled at that 40 degree. Where otherwise I probably wrapped up. I'm wrapped, but nowhere like say I would have been my first year here. So I understand how we approach that now, because when it gets down in the 20s, it's cold and wind blowing and things like that.
Right,
So it changes. But you hit the 30s with no wind. It's really and truly now. I couldn't imagine me saying this. It's really not that cold.
right.
But that's because we're climatized now. So it's really not that cold.
Vince, well, like there was two things. And we'll get into a little sports thing, but there was two things. One, when I was growing up, I used to always hear about the humidity, which I didn't understand what they were talking about. Because I'd been in Florida all my life during the summer and everything, so I didn't understand what they were talking about with the humidity. So when I went up north and came back, I was like, oh, okay, I get it, because I understood what they meant by the humidity. And then they was talking about the dry cold versus the wet cold. I didn't understand that. So when I'm up north, it's a dry cold. When I came back down south, I understood the wet cold because it's the humidity when it's cold the humidity where it's up north, 30 degrees dry cold, 30 degrees wet cold here in Florida is colder than it is up north in the dry cold because the humidity and everything goes right through your clothes. So I got to experience exactly what that meant because at first I'm looking like I don't understand any of that. But trust me,
Well,
30 degrees in New York and 30 degrees in Florida, it's a big difference. The dry cold versus the wet cold with the humidity. There is a difference, I'm telling you.
but then you add the wind chill factor, and that is yet another difference. Because it dry, like for instance in the Chicago and Milwaukee area, it's 30 degrees, but when you add the wind chill factor, sometimes it's below zero.
Right.
It can be a drastic change, and at that point in time, wet or dry doesn't matter. It's flat out cold. I mean, I don't care how you can.
You're right though, because after it gets down to a certain degree,
anything you want,
it just don't matter. It's cold. It's cold.
Wet or dry, it's cold. And but I tell you, honest, being Floridian, born and reared in Florida, I actually do enjoy the change of seasons.
Oh yeah. I mean, I enjoy the cold weather because to me, really, it wasn't cold to me while the last week or so. I mean, I truly enjoyed it. I usually, when the temperature in the 40s like that, I usually go fishing this time of year for the sheephead, but I just haven't been able to go. I was supposed to go today, but then I remember I had to do something. So I may go tomorrow. But anyway, you got to give me the update on the basketball team. What's the update?
Well, we are sitting right now at 20 wins, 5 losses, sitting at second in the district with 2 games left to play, 2 regular season games left to play. One this Friday and then one the following Tuesday, and then that'll be it for the regular season. And then we will start district. So we are somewhat happy, if you would. We feel accomplished because this is my 4th year here. The 3rd year we've been able to get 20 wins, which is a heck of an accomplishment, and we're very proud of that. But we still got work to do.
That's you guys in the white, right?
Correct. That's our home court against one of our biggest rivals.
I watched that game.
It was a very good game. I mean, one of the best high school games around. I mean, I've been honored to say I've been able to participate in some outstanding high school basketball. I had a game there in Florida with Edgewater High School. Last second buzzer shot that was against which were rivals, and of course up here we have 2 rivals within the same area, and this game here is against one of them. So big win for us at home. We had won at their place earlier that year, but to be able to come home and win in what was really a great game, and I think in some cases we made it harder than it should have been because we missed some free throws there that probably could have changed the whole complexion of the game. But we're happy for the win, happy for 20 wins, but still got to take care of these last 2, and then we got to get ready to play district basketball, because this 20 wins, while it's a great accomplishment, that's not the end of our goal.
Right. So what's your record again? 20 and what now?
20 and 5 as of right now.
20 and 5. Okay, and you got 2 games to go.
2 regular season games left.
Right. Okay.
So we have last year at the end, after everything, we were 25 and 7. The year before that, we were 19 and 6. I'm sorry. No, we were 20 and 9, I think it was 20 and 8. And then the year before, the first year, we were 8, and we ended up something like 9 and 16 that first year. Then after that, we have 20 win seasons for the last 3 seasons. So that's a big accomplishment. But again, when we set out this year, we have several goals. We were able to hit most of them. So we're very proud of that. But still, the big prize is trying to get to state. That's the biggest thing on our agenda right now, is to get there. So we got to handle these 2 regular season games. No letdowns. Got to come after them really hard, because everybody in our district is competitive. It's a very competitive district. And for us to be in second place right now is great. We want to hold that maybe get a shot at first place, but be prepared for the play district ball because that's when it really counts.
All right, look at the crowd going crazy. There you go.
I'm telling you, for a high school environment, is absolutely unbelievable to see the two school student sections go at each other. I absolutely, and we get the same reaction when we go to their place. I'll tell you, I got the best seat in the house, sitting on the bench and to witness and experience that as well as the basketball, but to be able to hear the in the gym, it's nothing like it that I've experienced.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. 2 games to go before the playoffs start. I mean,
Right.
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 Okay. All right. Before we get into more of the sports thing, I had a conversation with a gentleman that works in the school system, and we started talking about some things, and because of what you do, and you're at a school, but more importantly, of what you do and what you've been doing over the years, and we got into this conversation, Vince, and I would like to see if I could get you on with him as part of the Journey 2020, because he went deep into a lot of the issues and the problems that they're having in the school system, Vince. And when you hear the problems, it's very scary, Vince. It's scary. They also shared with me, the gentleman that I was speaking to was with one of the coworkers, and she shared with me one of her friends quit the school system. She just quit because she said last week, she said she had a 5-year-old spit in her face. And she said, of course, there was nothing that she can do to the student, you know. And then when he started to talk and when he started to break it down, it's to the point that the kids that are 8 and 9 years old know that you can't do anything to them, and their reaction and their response comes from a place that is so, I mean, you can't even begin to understand, because it's like the parents are like daring you to discipline my child. And so it's almost like, what do you do and how do you work in that system? So I just wanted him to come on and just share what it's like working in the school system now, because he's somebody that when we had the conversation, he was talking about how in depth he get with these families because of there's so many back layers of problems. Because when you start dealing with one problem, getting involved, now you're dealing, well, now you're dealing with 4 or 5 kids. Now they don't have anything to eat. Now they got this. And he was just talking about how in depth. And so when I immediately was hearing him, it was like, it's almost like a crisis that's just quiet. And I don't want to take away from the sports, but I just want to say that I would like to work something out where I definitely would like to have you part of that conversation, because I know that you can bring something to it that might be able to even help him, you know, because he has a heart in the sister that he was working with, and it takes, you know, that, and like, how do you deal with that? And that's my question that I want to ask in that conversation, because it's when he got into going into the issues and the problems and breaking it down, you standing there like, how do you do your job? You know? But anyway, I don't want to take away from Youth Central Sports, but I just wanted to share that with you to ask you if we can work something out where we can do it. I mean, it doesn't have to be live on the Journey 2020, but I definitely would like for you to be part of that show.
I would like to. There is a serious crisis there that many people don't know it really exists. And what I think the shocking part that will really shock most people is that we kind of understand the high school setting, but what we're not always aware of is the elementary setting, how much it has changed, and what kind of challenges they're facing there. With our information technology and the information age that we have, a lot more and more students, as well as families, as well as all of us, are much more informed than we were before, as well as we are sometimes misinformed. So there's so much information out there, but the environment has changed, the narrative has changed from the school to the student, from the student to the school to the teacher. It's a different world out there, and it
Ooh,
has become
trust me.
very complicated. And the number of teachers that are walking away would surprise you. Uh, People who just can't do it anymore for whatever be the reason. So it's a huge issue. I would love to be a part of that to share my insight and input. So let's see if we can work that out.
Okay. All right. Sounds like a deal. You know, I have not had any discussion with you, have not talked with you since the Super Bowl. Have we
Mm.
haven't said anything about it at all. So um I was I was really disappointed, and I guess the reality and how I felt or how I feel about the game was I think that the Ram quarterback play was the difference in that game. Of course, the play of New England and what they did to make him play bad, of course. But if they had a quarterback that was able to make plays, I think that game would have been a little different in the sense of more competitive to, to me. But remember how I keep talking about how fans complain about what the sport is, no matter what it is. There's always going to be a low scoring game, a high scoring game, a defensive game, because it was a defensive game. So there's nothing you can do about what the sport is. People are just not satisfied.
Yeah,
Personally,
yeah,
huh?
yeah. I was surprised. I am surprised. The number of people who said it was a boring Super Bowl. They really didn't like it, and so on and so forth. I have a different opinion about that, but
Right,
I
yeah,
understand. But they're saying I don't look at the game that way.
right,
But I get it. I do get it. I think they were looking for a high-powered, a lot of high-powered offenses going after one another. No one gave any credit to the defensive side of the ball, and
right,
I do think the Ram quarterback, and that was one of the things going in. That was one of the comments or the narratives that were being discussed is which one of golf would appear.
right.
He's had some great games, and then he's had some poor games, and that was the question going in. Now he had a couple of passes that I think that were not his fault. They were where they should have been. They just weren't made. The catches weren't made, or good defense was played. But I felt also overall he was not at his best,
No,
and I still think that they did a great job in that game until they let New England score. When they let them drive down that time and score, that's when I thought for sure the Rams were in trouble because
right.
I didn't see them coming back. If they kept it to a 3-point game where they were kicking field goals, I felt like the Rams were in. But when they let New England score, and the way they
Well,
scored, they drew the same play 3 times over and over. So they got their number. The water
well, when he
defense
threw that
down.
interception, I was like, it's over. It's over. When he
Yeah,
threw that interception.
I was surprised, but again, I'm again, I understand where he is and what he's doing, but you would think, at least I would think, and that he would have tried to throw it out of bounds or make sure he on the side or throw it deep enough where nobody could get it. Because to be honest, if you look at it, the receiver had steps.
Right,
Had the ball been thrown right, if he had thrown the ball uh, down further out, the receiver had a chance to catch it, but it stayed up in the air, it floated, and then it fell short. And the receiver could not get back in time, and the defensive player obviously made a great defensive play. That to me sealed it. And then they let him drive down the field and score, and I was like, oh, that's not good. That's really not good. And then they kicked another field goal, and because I just didn't think they could get back, they couldn't come from behind. The big running back didn't get a chance to play for whatever be the reason. I heard the coach's explanation. I know everybody would like to get more detailed information about why he didn't play and all of that, but bottom line, he didn't play. They didn't win. I don't think it was a direct correlation to him, as much as I think he could have added something to it.
right.
But they didn't get it. I mean, they didn't get it.
It's like, wow, yeah, yeah. Well, a quick shout out to my friend who tune in every week. That's Myron Coney. Coney is from back in the day when I was a little kid, and old friend Cheryl Walker and Pastor Pringles. Thank you for checking us out for a minute or two. Would love to hear some of your comments on the Super Bowl as well. But uh, it was definitely a defensive game. I could
And
give
you
you
expected that. I
right,
I somewhat expected that because you allowed better Belichick 2 weeks to get ready for you. You only had to concentrate on one, and with the quarterback, or even the Rams, not the team not playing its best, it put you at a disadvantage.
right.
I mean, they also had 2 weeks to prepare for them, which it looked like they did. I mean, because you look at the score, you look at the type of game you had, uh, and to me, that score was the score that was going to win it for either one of them. Or the
Right.
only thing is that New England, based on their history, they can come from behind. I've not seen the Rams do that enough, and I just think against the Patriots, possible, but they had to be playing better ball, in my opinion, to do that.
Right. Well, um, there was some, that again that didn't like the game.
Yeah,
I loved it. Well, I would have loved a different outcome, but I loved
yeah, I wanted a different outcome.
it.
Definitely wanted a different outcome. But I had a great appreciation for the game. A lot of people talked about the halftime show. I actually did not see the halftime show. I think I saw the start of it, and I didn't see the rest of it. Next thing when I got back to the network, it was third quarter. So there was a lot of conversation about that. To the point that they liked it, which I didn't see it. So I can't
Well,
I can't speak. But the reaction seemed to
actually,
be pretty.
there was a lot of talk about a lot of people that didn't like the halftime show because it didn't have the pizzazz.
Hmm.
I don't know because, and I was having that conversation because, like, for an example, they had Gladys Knight sing the national anthem, which I didn't see hit me.
I did see
Actually,
that. I did see that. She did a great
right.
job, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, 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 yeah. I heard she did a great job. I was thinking that she should have been part of the halftime show, but I actually didn't get in. I was out riding my motorcycle, and by the time I got back in, it was 5 minutes to go in the first quarter, and I didn't see any of the halftime show at all because that wasn't anything that I would have been interested in really, and I
Yeah,
really didn't pay that
I,
much attention to any of the commercials. So I need to go back and check out the commercials because I was doing something while I was watching the game. But and I never asked anybody this, but was there any commercials that stood out? Did you pay any attention to any of the commercials? Because I
I,
didn't. I didn't. Oh, no, 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 that's not
I,
true. I did see the the commercial that had all the football stars in it that had Joe Montana to Barry Sanders, and I did see that one. I think I saw it once. I think it was I don't even know what it was. All I just saw was all of the football players was in it. I don't even know what it was. I don't know if it was a Budweiser commercial or what it was,
think
but
it was.
I did see them. I
I think
don't
it
even know
was.
what it was.
I think it was. It was. I mean, I saw a couple of them that I thought were clever, that were very entertaining. Um, Overall, I they come. I need to, for me in order to really enjoy them, I got to see them again because I
Right.
saw them in the run, similar to you on the run. That particular commercial caught my eye. I had time to really look at that, and then there were a couple of others. Um, that's tough to top yourself each and every year with those
Oh yeah.
commercials because some of them are absolutely fantastic. And I thought they did a. I haven't seen the ratings yet because normally somewhere in there
It
they're going to
it
print the
was one
top
of the
10.
lowest games in like 9 or 10 years. The lowest ratings.
Yeah. But so the commercial impact may have a different outcome, but somewhere they're going to have the top 10. And that's where I'm going to go back and take a look at it and see if I can find a favorite. But the ones that I did see, I liked. I mean, I wasn't overwhelmed by any of them. More interested in the one that you discussed. but there are a couple of others that kind of got my attention, but not overall. Not overall.
But see, the funny thing is that they tried to do the 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 ratings, but it's different now because people watch on their phones, they watch on their
Yeah.
iPad, so they watch different now. So and I think it's harder to do the ratings like they used to. You used to be able. It's harder to track the ratings now than what they used to do back in the day, because of all the access that we have now in the way that we can watch.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, that's what technology and progress will do for you, and they got to catch up. They really got to move. They got to find some way to match that availability and be able to capture that. And I'm sure they will. I mean, they'll catch up eventually, but it's not as accurate as it used to be.
No,
I saw I saw some people at the game on their phones.
oh yeah,
Probably what they were doing, playing fantasy football
right.
while they were watching the Super Bowl. So I mean, which is not unheard of today.
Oh,
And some of them, and you have some people sitting there watching the game at the game, watching the game.
right. Which
on their
remind me was one night last week, I got a chance to go. I don't know. It may have been Friday. I'm all mixed up now. But at least once a year, Commissioner Ains invites me to go and see a Magic game with the city box, suite, of whatever they have up there, right? And so Brooklyn was in town, and I really didn't watch the game though because I was like really into the food.
Yeah.
But it's really nice to go up there and you have conversation, and I peek my head out once in a while. Plus they got the monitors in there, and just having good conversation and just chilling for a while. I was trying to get Ken to go, but Ken was supposed to, but he got caught up late at work, so he called at the last minute and said that he couldn't show, which meant that there was a wasted ticket that could have been there,
Right.
box office. But anyway, but I got a chance to go and kind of sort of see the Magic play a little bit. And actually, you know what? I think they won that game. I'm not sure, but I think they won. I think they beat Brooklyn last week. I think, because I left before the game was over.
Magic has Magic overall hasn't done bad at all. They've been very competitive. A lot of the games that they lost were close games, or within no more than 10 points, and sometimes obviously less than that. They're much more competitive, and I think to me they're more fun to watch now than they were. Now, if management and the people in the area will be patient with them, particularly management, and let them grow, they may end up having something that they can be very proud of. But if they're going to try to mess with it again and try to make it a quick fix, they're going to be back to ground zero. And that's been their problem, I think, all along, is just trying to move too fast. It takes time to build a champion. And I don't know that they haven't been patient enough. In my opinion, they haven't been patient enough to do that.
Guess who I saw last night?
Who's that?
I saw Lucille O'Neal. She told me to tell you hi.
Oh, please give her my best the next time you speak.
And I told her, I said, we were just talking about you, and I said, Vince said he gonna call you. And so I invited her on the show, and she said, well, you just call me. So I was like, okay. So probably in the next couple of weeks, we're gonna see if we can get her on the show, because she definitely
look forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, look forward. I haven't spoken to her in a while, which probably is my fault, but I will reach out to her.
Yeah. She was looking good.
I always enjoyed speaking with her. I always had enjoyed her company. Being in her company was always fun.
She's funny too. She's
yes, she is.
Very down to earth. That's
very down to earth, but she's funny as all get out. She tells it like it is.
Yeah, and the cool thing about that is that through all of that and who Shaq is, Shaq listened to his mom.
Well, what I've always appreciated about her from my first time meeting her, she separates the fact that I'm Shaq's mom, and that's it. That's Shaq, and I'm his mom, and no more, no less. and
Right.
see that it doesn't spill over to as if she's sharing the ride. She has her own ride.
Right. Right. That is that is very true. That is very true. Very true. Yeah. Not quite sure. Have I lost you there, Vince? Let me see. Let me make sure that I do this right. So I think I may have lost Vince for a minute. Hopefully he is going to phone back in. Oh, there he is. Are you back,
Okay.
Vince?
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. I thought I lost you for a minute.
Yeah, it did go out. It may be on my end. We got bad weather up here right now.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Um. Other than oh, I was passing the TV and I just reminded myself a brother got hired from the New England Patriots to be a head coach, but I don't remember who. I was just passing the TV about 2 days ago, and I just
Yeah, he's
remembered that dude.
in Miami.
Yeah,
He's in
yeah, yeah,
Miami
yeah, yeah, yeah. There you go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They hired him in
with the Dolphins.
Miami. I have no idea who he is. I never heard of him. I know absolutely nothing about him. But yeah, Miami. Do
Well,
you know anything about him?
you'll get to hear about him because he's been with the Patriots for a while, defensive coordinator. Um, really stellar career. I mean, he's more than qualified, obviously. So he's getting a chance to go to first African American minority in head coach in the Miami. He's the very first. So which is going to be very interesting in many ways as he rebuilds that franchise. Be interesting to see how he does it. What and you can only imagine that part of that rebuild or part of his philosophy will be what he comes from, and that's the New England Patriot formula. Now, how much of that he's going to be able to use, we don't know, but certainly that's gonna have some influence, I'm sure.
Now, here's a question that I wanted to ask, and I probably should have sent it out on Facebook. And I wanted to ask you this question: should Josh Gordon be considered for a ring?
Excuse me, Josh Gordon. That's an interesting question. I think it depends on perspective. I always lean to rather than opinion. What is the standing policy about a situation like here? If he has contributed over 50% of the season, I think he does. If he had contributed less than that, then I don't think he should. And I break it down to me without going into more hysterical than it has to be. I put my feelings into it. I look at it as if you were there for over 50% of the season and you made a contribution, okay, for over 50% of the season, then I think you deserve to be anointed with that ring or get that. If you have not, then I don't think so. Now, what does team policy say? How do they look at that? That would be the next question. What policy is in place? And I'm not familiar with that because I don't know whether it's a standard policy or whether that policy is set by a team. I had a chance to talk with a guy today who I will go back to and speak with, who's currently playing with the Tennessee Titans. And I had a chance to interact with him today for a few minutes and have been able to establish somewhat of a rapport. So that'd be a question I would love to get him to give me some insight on.
Yeah, because I mean, I would love to hear what he would have to say, because now you and I, because I mean, we did a show, and you did a great job of well, because people don't know that you come from that background as far as dealing with addicts and those mental illness and that type of thing, because you worked in that field for a very long time, and you did a great job of just coming from not the typical, perspective and breaking it down, because we see things from the perspective of the money in the game when life is life,
Life is
And
like,
so when you sit there and you think, and even then I was thinking about, well, that whole thing, because what we will immediately go to was, man, he missed a chance to not only win the Super Bowl, I mean play in the Super Bowl, but win, a Super Bowl. But
mhm.
there's life going on, and there are bigger issues and problems that he's dealing with.
Oh yeah, and as important as it sounds, and as important as it really is, in his world, it doesn't have the same impact. Um, Certainly, he's playing to be the best he can be, or he's involved. He's with the team and the concept, but the issues that he's fighting is so big that the Super Bowl is small.
Right.
It's small to him. I mean, he probably doesn't even get a chance to enjoy it, because if he's away from it, then his other issues are so large, they smother that opportunity that he doesn't even. It probably has little or no value to him. And think about this, and I say this in general. A lot of players, both in basketball and football. I'm not sure about baseball, but I know for sure in basketball and football, if they're not participating in our break or the championship games and stuff like that, you'd be shocked at the number of players that don't go. They don't attend.
Mm.
They haven't. They just won't go now. And they're supposed to be healthy, as far as we know. And their reasoning. Some people feel like, I'm not playing. I don't want to be there. And then they don't. They only want to be there if they're participating. And I get that. I mean, that's the competitive nature of it. Others go for the festivities, even though they're not playing. But as a professional, and that is your goal, some of them take it very seriously. They won't even attend.
Mm.
They won't even attend. But and I say that in relation to the decision that they're making. A person in his position, that's not a decision they can make. The decision already made for them. That is those issues that they have are so huge that there's not a decision to make. That's not even a consideration
Right.
because of his issues that he has made.
Yeah, well, it's and the thing is, I haven't heard anybody talk about it, or I haven't heard any of the discussions at all, because normally, some announcer, some sports something would bring that up simply because of the circumstances, whether or not they want to bash him or just ask that question, because I think he played more than half of the season. Didn't he play more than half of the season?
I honestly do not know. I'll be honest with you. I really don't know, but mental illness being the seriousness that it is, and the epidemic that we're having in our country, yet it's not spoken about, or in my opinion, not adequately addressed in many occasions. Sometimes people don't know what to do with that situation. They don't know how to approach it, because you can be very unfair sometimes, and it's not. You're so far off point. Many people go in and comment or criticize without knowing the facts,
Right.
because it's not always what you think it is. It's certainly not what it looks like. And
Well,
so, and many, I have a great appreciation. If you don't know anything about it, stay away from it. Get facts. But you can't indict that person because you don't know what they're going through.
Vince, our immediate response is, because everything will always pertain back to money, because that's all that we ever understand. And so it's like, well, if I have this money, there's no way that I would have his problems or his issues, because everything for a lot of people, pertains to the possession and money, the things that they have. But
Yeah.
you're that only further enhance your true issues.
Well, it helps you camouflage and cover them up. Where you might think that what it would do more than anything is to help eliminate it, but it really doesn't. It really helps to cover it up from the outside eye. But the person inside is miserable. He can use it as a shield. He or she can use it as a shield to hide behind, but they're not enjoying it because they don't have time to enjoy it. But it's difficult, and it's something that I just hope that somewhere down the road, and we are addressing it. I don't want to make it sound like it's not being addressed. It is. Agency I used to work for, with Aspire Health Partners, we was very strong in addiction and depression, alcoholism and drug addictions and reoccurring and co-occurring addictions and stuff, because it's serious, and the number of people that you see that are affected is absolutely amazing. Blow your mind. Some of the people who are suffering from some of the issues that you would never think they would be because of the status that you see them living and how you think they're living, but they're suffering every day. You know, that having that excess, that celebrity, that advantage or influence and all that has nothing to do with how they really feel. It's another way for them to cover.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough. And if you haven't been there, you don't get it. If you've been there,
Well, well,
yeah.
I've seen for myself to some degree of how my oldest brother, Vince, and my youngest sister, I've seen where somebody that I grew up with became somebody that I didn't recognize in their
Mm-hmm.
personality
Mm-hmm.
and what they became. Because when I left and came back, and I'm talking about from being in school and going away for a little while, and when I came back, I didn't recognize my sister anymore. She was somebody else, and we're talking about a span of maybe not really being around her, maybe 3 years, maybe 3 or 4 years, and she was a totally different person. She was just different. As a matter of fact, one of my best friends was very close growing up with my sister, and I purposely called him, and put her on the phone and let them talk. And when she gave me back the phone, he asked me, who was that? Because he knew that she was somebody different. And I'm saying that in reference, and my brother, he just, I don't even have words to describe what he became and how he used to be versus to the day that he died. Both of them are dead. But that world and watching it and seeing the transformation, to see this young girl who was mom's pet, who was quiet and shy, just become somebody else, and it's and I mean I saw it for myself. And I was much younger then, and I still think about that. I wish that I had the tools to help her, and even him, but more so my sister, because you want to pull her out of that environment. And I think about what it may have been like if I could have brought her to Orlando to take her away from that environment, because I've seen myself, Vince, if you don't get the best of the hood is going to get the best of you. And if you don't get out of that environment or understand the environment versus just adapting to it, and you succumb to it because that's your environment and that's the way you see the world, and you know what I'm talking about. It's something that people cannot or don't want to relate to because they already think that's who we are anyway. So you
Well,
kind of suppressed, and you don't see a way out, and your heroes become those in which you see, this is how I have to go about doing what I need to do
well,
to
it
live
it
and
comes down
survive.
to in today's society, we still talk about it. It's alternative. We've not always addressed the needs of the people. This segment of people, could we, as we have advanced, there's certain techniques and information we've gained that probably would be a great help to her today that was not available then. But also, there was no awareness of it. It was stigmatized into being something. you- People were being labeled because it was convenient and it was easy, rather than investigating and finding out that they look like this problem, but that's not really what their problem is. They just look like that, and their actions is really an offset of a deeper issue. but until you investigate and find out and really ask the question why, rather than look at what you think you see and draw a conclusion. This is very true in dealing with addictions, and dealing with those kinds of things. We look at the result of. We don't ask how did you get there. We don't ask why. And I think that's the biggest key. So, and we're getting better at it as time is passing. But look at the number of people that we've missed. As that was just the time, unfortunately. And I don't think we're doing a real great job now, but we're doing better because you have more people now. You got some boots on the ground. You don't have enough, but people who are starting to ask the question, well, why do you feel that way? As opposed to this is what you do. Let's find out, is this really who you are? But again, because we look at where you come from, we look at what you do, what you look like, what ethnicity you are, whether you're male or female, and all of those factors are important, but they're not always the root of what the situation. They are results thereof.
Right.
Of what you think you see.
Right. Well, trust me, I can sit here and do a whole show by myself on what I've seen the transformation from this little shy girl who was mom's pet, who I could never even imagine living outside the house. That's how docile she was, and that's how close she was to my mom. I could, as a kid growing up, she was mom pets, and she was just this little quiet, little shy little thing, and see her turn into a totally different person was just mind-boggling. And it's amazing what drugs can do. It's amazing.
It is, absolutely. They can help and they can hurt.
True that. All right, you ready for some Sprint?
Absolutely.
Okay, here we go. Question: best Super Bowl party you've ever attended?
Was in Miami when the Cowboys played the Steelers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It'd be like it's a good thing there was no social media, right?
Thank God there was no social media, because if it was, I'm not sure I would be able to show my face in the public again.
Have you ever had a Super Bowl party yourself?
Yes, I have. It was not held at my residence. We had a neutral location where we invited a number of people over and had a huge event. But I can't say it was actually at my residence, but I helped put together a Super Bowl celebration, okay. Yes.
Okay. The most money you know of someone that lost money on the Super Bowl?
The most money that I know was $25,000.
Okay. The most money you know someone made on the Super Bowl?
Could not verify this to be a fact, but all I know is that it was 6 digits according to them. I'm not sure about that, but I do know for a fact the guy won $100,000 off a Super Bowl.
Wow.
I do know that for a fact.
Okay.
Amazing. It was amazing to just be around there.
Have you ever been to a Super Bowl?
Okay, I don't know if this qualified. When Whitney Houston sang the national anthem in Tampa, mm-hmm. I was in the parking lot trying to park.
Okay.
And I really wanted to see her sing more so than see the Super Bowl.
Right.
Although it was right then, I felt like, why should I not go? And I'm riding around the parking lot. And she started to sing. I stopped the car to hear her sing. And after she sang the song, I'm thinking, I don't know if I really want to go inside now or not.
Right.
So I actually did not go to the Super Bowl, but I was on the property of the Super Bowl itself. And so actually I can say, no, I've never been to a Super Bowl. I've been close. I've been in the city 3 times. I've been in the parking lot 1. But that's as close as I've been.
I've actually had tickets and did not attend. When they had the one in Jacksonville, I think it was Philadelphia and New England. Yeah.
If I had tickets, I probably would have gone. When I actually had tickets and didn't make it. So,
have you ever dated anyone that was as much into sports as you?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah, that's a rarity.
I know, right?
Yeah, it was a different. I mean, that was just different. I mean, you get
Yeah,
up in the morning,
it's,
we get
isn't
on the
it?
phone. I mean, she calling me saying, "Did you see this on TV last night? Did you?"
Isn't it interesting when
Um,
you date someone that's really into sports? That's different, isn't it? It's
it's totally different. I
yeah,
mean,
it's
she was on.
like wow, this is like so cool when you date someone that's like really into sports. It take you to
She
a
was
whole
really.
other world.
She would nothing for her to call and say, "Hey, listen, there's a basketball game over such a place. Hey, I'll come get you. Let's go." Because she was that she loved basketball. Well, she loved
Hmm.
sports. Period. She'd go to stuff I wasn't interested in going to. She liked boxing. I'm like, I'm not a boxing fan,
Oh,
but it
really?
was time. Yeah, no, I'm not a huge boxing fan at all. But she loved boxing. Wrestling, I thought that was
Oh
garbage.
man, she sound
Loved
like
it.
my
She
mom.
loved it.
Cause I
Yeah,
mean,
she
my
loved it.
mom was into football, basketball, all of it. I mean, she
My,
loved.
my, my
I
mom
mean,
was a my mom was a sports fanatic herself, but she was always for my mom was always for the underdog. That was always her favorite team, and it really worked out for her in a couple of times. But many times the underdog got his head beat in. But that was always her team. She didn't have to know anything about them. She didn't like them. She had no particular favor for me. It was just the underdog, and that's who she went for. So so I said, okay, mom, whatever. But she made it interesting, and she followed the sport. She could talk sport to a point, and that made it interesting. And I tell you what, I can remember calling her one time, and the game was on, and I forgot she's not going to answer the phone until either commercials or halftime. And I'm just calling back to back to back. She would not pick up. And then when I did call and she picked up, she said, and she found out it was me. She said, "You know better. You know I don't pick it up. I'm not picking up the phone."
see now
So
that's a true
that's how
sports
much.
fan right there.
And yeah, she was a true sports fan, without a
Yeah,
doubt.
yeah. Because
Without a
man,
doubt.
my mom loved Muhammad Ali. She loved Ali, and she loved Walt Frazier, Oscar Robertson, Dr. J. She loved her Dallas Cowboys. You know,
Hmm.
yeah, that's she is the one that got me into sports. She used to when I was 4 and 5 and 6 years old. She used to be back there in the backyard playing basketball with my older brother and the guys back there playing basketball like 3-on-3, 4-on-4. She used to be back there playing. You know,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
she was really a big sports fan and knew and Vince, she knew the sport. She wasn't just a fan; she knew the sport.
Yeah. I had a chance to sit with Jamil Hill when she spoke at our Minute Basketball
Right,
Hall of
right,
Fame
right.
banquet. We had a few minutes together, just one on one. It was just interesting to try not to talk about sports, but couldn't help but talk about sports. And she was so well informed and really articulated herself. So it was just exciting. And for a minute, I forgot who she was because she was just there.
Right.
And did you see such and such? And yeah, let me tell you. And then she bring up another. It was just, it was exciting to sit and talk with her because of her knowledge and her interest. It reminded me again of the girl that I had dated who had equal interest, and ironically, she turned out to be a lawyer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she turned to be, and I had thought she may become an agent, but to the best of my knowledge, she's practicing law. That's all I know. But
Okay.
but but it was it was different. It was different.
Okay. So we got a little bit of time to talk about these NBA trades, man. What you got? What you got?
Well, I'm there's so much going on, and the deadline is in the seventh. I think we need to probably take a look at the biggest thing right now on the table is Anthony Davis leaving the Pelicans and seems to be destination to the Lakers. And the Lakers are saying they'll give up everybody but LeBron. They're giving up cash money as well as they're giving up draft choices. I'd be interested to see. Now, Anthony Davis had said once before that he had some destinations involved, but that wherever he would go, it would be a 1-year contract because his event stop was to be with the Lakers. I understand some of that's changed. I think by next week we'll be able to talk more in depth because that Porzingis trade that they took with the Knicks and the
Right.
Mavericks, that was huge. But you got some other stuff that's coming down the pipe that I'm hearing conversations about. This is that it may or may not take place, but it's an awful. Friends is taking place. Today is the fifth, right? Today is the fifth or the sixth.
Today's the sixth.
Well, the
Today's the
sixth now.
sixth.
Okay, so you got 24 hours from now. This thing is going to jump crazy if it's going to happen. The Anthony Davis thing is probably the biggest thing for me right now. Porzingis was a huge going to.
Right.
That's going to really help Dallas. I think. I think it's going to help the Knicks as well. If the Knicks stay on their plan of allowing Fizdale to build up winner, but you got to get something to work with. The Lakers concept is, Magic, and I'm going to share something I heard too. But first of all, the Lakers' idea was to get LeBron and play some basketball, and then we do something next year. They've decided to change that, accelerate that by they got enough money now that they're going to be able to, because they're moving. Right now they had Ingram on the table, they had Ball on the table, Kuzma on the table, and stuff like that. They're giving us some really serious
Right.
people to make this, plus draft picks, plus money.
Right.
So
That's why
going
they
to
lost
open
by
up a
40
whole
the other
lot.
night, right? Because everybody
Well,
know they on the table.
well, it could be that because Anthony's not playing for the Pelicans. They've taken him off of their introduction tape.
No,
They're
no, no. I meant
limiting
the
him.
Lakers. The
Well,
Lakers.
the Lakers going to lose by 4. I don't care who they got. But what I'm saying is they're trying to accelerate that opportunity.
Right.
I read something the other day that I thought was interesting that Jenny Buss, owner and president of the Lakers, encouraged Magic to draft Ball because you and I and a couple other people I've talked to could never understand Magic. Why did you take Ball? He wasn't the best prospect out there.
Right.
But so in reading that, and I kind of read that a little bit, she had a lot of influence in that decision being made. Now I wonder if she's in the same influence in trading him because they got him on the table with Anthony Davis and also possibly going to the Suns. Dad now thinks he should go to the Phoenix Suns.
Phoenix. Yeah.
I don't think.
Phoenix.
Yeah, I don't think anybody listening to Dad because they all think Dad's crazy anyway. So nobody's really. But I think we after the 7th, I think it'll be a great show to talk about because there's gonna be a lot of bodies moving. I think one of the most interesting things right now is what's going on at Go, and Boogie's back there playing, and he's having the kind of impact that everybody thought he might have. He's having that kind of an impact, and I think it's going to get even better because he's definitely added a flavor to them that they didn't have, and now you really got to prepare for them even differently now because now you got Boogie. I mean, so that's rolling right along. Milwaukee's playing really good ball. Trades being made there. I don't know about the Magic. I haven't read anything about the Magic doing anything. But I did read just recently that today that the King got Harrison Barnes from
Right. Yeah. Yeah. From Mavs.
town down there because they're in trouble down there. They're in deep trouble down there.
Right.
So it's a litany of information here, like the Bulls and the Wizards.
Did you hear what happened to Wall?
After he went to the Wizards because John Wall is out.
Right.
He's going to have surgery and he's going to be gone for the rest of the year, possibly into next year.
Right.
So Ryan Anderson, who used to be with the Magic, is now back at the Heat. He's been around. He was in Houston for a while.
Yeah.
And
He's a good player, though.
Great shooter.
Right. Yeah.
Wasn't a humongous defensive player, but could put the ball in the hole. They got Wayne Ellington and Tyler Johnson went to the Suns. The 76ers now, they got cash consideration to the Raptors. They got guard Malik Rich. The Pistons also got Thor Maker for Stanley. I mean, Tobias Harris has left the Clippers and is going to the 76ers. They get Wilson Chandler, two or three other ball players, plus some draft picks in the future. Reggie Bullock is going to the Lakers, a guard. And then the Pistons, he and the Pistons are making an exchange. Rodney Hood with the Cavaliers
Right.
is now going to the Trailblazers.
Right.
He
Right.
was
He's there.
he was a little bit unhappy there because he wasn't getting much action. Now here's this Porzingis trade. You got Tim Hardaway Jr.,
Right.
Courtney Lee, who I've had the pleasure of knowing Courtney for quite a while. I played now Pro-Am and lives right there in Orlando.
Right.
And Trey Burke are going to the Mavericks, which is going to be very interesting. And they gave up DeAndre Jordan and Dennis Johnson and Wesley Matthews to go to the Knicks. So these trades right now on paper look interesting. That obviously they're trying to fill gaps. I'm interested to hear what the talking heads will say. Some of the NBA experts will give their opinion on some of these trades. So I think when we have a chance to really, and some of these are pending. Mm-hmm. They have not actually happened yet, but they're pending or projected to happen. And as you know, that could change in a heartbeat. I'd be interested to see come this weekend, and by the time we sit down again, to see what actually took place. And I still think we got a couple of surprises that are hanging out there as well.
Well, we will definitely know by tomorrow. Tomorrow is the deadline.
Tomorrow. I think tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow night's the deadline. They got Carmelo going to from the Rockets. He was still on there in their system. He's going to Chicago, and Chicago.
They waived him. Yeah, they already did that, and they waived him. Yeah. Chicago waived them already.
Okay. That's what they should have done, and supposedly the Lakers were picking him up. Here's something that I did not recognize.
So he's basically a free agent now, right?
No, well, yeah, technically he is. Yeah, he's cheap now. He's really. Did you see Trevor Ariza coming from the Suns going to the Wizards for Austin Rivers? Austin Rivers and Kelly Orbit Jr. that went to the Suns. I didn't see that. Supposedly took place on, but I thought he was still playing with the Rockets. I thought I saw Austin Rivers the other night playing with the Rockets.
Yeah. I thought he was still playing with them.
Yeah, I need to follow up on that because he got moved. It must have been a three-way deal because he was playing in Houston.
Right.
So I gotta check that out because that might be old news. That might have been something else. So it's so much up in the air, trying to get parity out there. Some of these trades sound very interesting. Some of them I have no idea. I don't know the people they're talking about. So I'm really interested to see how that goes.
Yeah.
Then in college, in this college basketball arena is interesting out there now. Everybody's talking about Tennessee does not deserve to be number one, but so far nobody's knocked them off.
Right.
Duke is 2. That's an interesting lineup they got over there. But it's just right now it's a great time. I really enjoy college basketball far more than I do the NBA.
Oh yeah, well,
because college basketball is so exciting to me. But the NBA, once you start getting parity, I think the NBA becomes exciting again. And I mean, I'm not tired of the Golden State Warriors winning. They can win from now on as far as I'm concerned. But it's just nice, competitiveness. But the college game is so different. It's so exciting. The student body, the whole it's just a different animal. And I really, really enjoy it. And the kids play harder, in my opinion. It really means more to them. At least it appears that it means more to them than that NBA guy, which is probably not a fair assessment. But I'm going to say that the college player seems more excited than the NBA player. I'll put it that way because I think it's just as important to those guys too. It's their living. It's how they support themselves and their families. And I think they believe in it and they want it. It's a great honor to be an NBA player. But I just think the collegiate player, that's his next step. But he's so he just exuberant, man. I mean, he's off the chain, and I love it. Football and basketball. It's just the excitement and the rivalries that you have are so deep. Did you also see that the young man, the quarterback from the Florida State, DeAndre,
Oh yeah, yo, oh yeah. You know what? I'm glad you brought that up because
he got
he's out of
released from
there.
the team? Yeah, he got released. Kind of surprised about that. There was an interesting thing. I was talking with a guy today who plays pro sports, and the question that was asked of him was social media. How much do the players actually pay attention to? And he was saying that because he's a 9-year vet now, and he was saying he used to really just get on there and respond to people, and he said now at best he may glance at it, he doesn't even pay attention because it does creep, because so much information is either transferred or you got fans writing these guys saying crazy stuff, and then you write back, and then it goes viral.
Right,
Which is not a thing to do, whether you play sports or not. You keep
right,
your opinion to yourself. But these guys sometimes, especially the young guys, they shoot off something, and now so much stuff is being uploaded. Man, it's crazy out there. I mean, I love where we are technologically, and I know we're gonna progress even more. But you really got to be careful out there.
oh yeah, yeah,
I enjoy the social medias and as much as anybody. I get a kick out. I got a Twitter account, I got Facebook, and I don't do Instagram and some of them other things, but those two right there keep me busy. I enjoy this thing out of them. I really, really enjoy participating and reading. I probably read more than I actually participate. But now one thing I don't do, I don't put my personal business on there. I mean, whatever accomplishment I
that's
have,
because you're a
I'll tell
wise
my friends.
man, Vince.
Yeah, I call my friends and tell them I've had such a personal accomplishment, but I don't need the whole world to
You're a
know.
wise man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen it by many people, but it's
Oh yeah.
interesting now. It's going to be very interesting. The All-Star game once again. They put out the selections for that and all of that. It's just going to be. I think the second half of the season is going to be exciting for the
Okay.
NBA. And the college is getting close to March Madness now.
Yeah,
We're in the
and
month
I
of
know you're
February.
looking forward to the North Carolina Duke games coming up.
Without a shadow of a doubt. I am considering going to Carolina. I'm just being outside the arena when they kick Duke down the highway. I know all my Duke fans, all my Duke buddies now laughing right now, saying, but be careful, be careful, be careful. But that's always a great game for me. And I think what makes it special, Charles, I actually had a chance to be in Cameron Arena for a Carolina a Duke game, and that particular occasion Carolina won, and I was also been in the Dean Dome when they played, and I think they won that one too, as a matter of fact. So the game means something to me. When I see the Cameron Crazies, I really understand what that's about,
Hmm.
and also how Carolina, being in the Dean Dome and being able to watch that. So not only because I'm a Carolina fan, but the rivalry, I really have had the opportunity to experience that rivalry. That makes it very interesting to me. So again, go Tar Heels.
Well, you said you had two games left in the season, and that's win and win.
That this Friday is have an away game, and then that following Tuesday we have a home game, and that will conclude our regular season. And then the following Friday we have a first district game.
Okay, do you know if that's going to be home or away?
Don't know yet. It's going to depend on a couple teams have to, based on how they games come out over the next couple of days. We should know next Wednesday.
Okay. All right. Cool.
But
Well,
then fingers crossed for a strong finish, and then a great district play, and then we move on from once you get out of districts, we get into regionals, sub-regionals. There's 10 games to win the championship, 7 games to get to state. So we're on our 7th game after Tuesday, We're on a 7 game winning streak.
Okay, and the thing is, I didn't write this down, but I will get that to you. But I did set my date for July.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so I did set the date. So I got to look at and send that to you. So it's in
Yeah,
July.
because I have plans. I am planning to be in that area for that event, and I'm going to spend a little bit of time down in the Sunshine State in July before returning back up here. And I need to kind of plan when I should arrive and when I should leave.
All right. Well, once you cross into the state lines, we're not gonna let you leave. That's just the way it is, bro.
Hey, it is what it is.
Yep. As a matter of fact, we're gonna have the state troopers there, waiting because make sure that you
Yeah,
don't cross the state line going wherever you're going.
yeah. Listen, I have no fault. If the opportunity presented itself, I would make that move.
Okay. Well, we're gonna have to make that happen. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all right. That's the original Coach Carter. The original Coach Carter. I'm Charles Morris, Youth Central Sports, where we come to you every Wednesday at www.youthcentralsports. You can uh, subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook. We're on Periscope, Twitter. We're all over the place. So
Yeah.
thank you for tuning in. And again, questions or comments, you can hit us up right there as well. You can even text us and so on and so forth. That's the number where you can hit us up as well. And like I said, we come to you every Wednesday right here, where it's 80 some degrees and it's 30 some degrees. We
We're
still
60 degrees. We're
here.
60 right now, so we're in the good weather right now.
Well, anyway, doesn't matter. We are gonna be here, right here at Youth Central Sports, where we come to you every Wednesday live at 11 p.m., 10 p.m. his time. So, with that being
Yep.
said, everyone, have yourself a blessed week and
Be blessed.
be good.